Hello and welcome to Lantern Lane Stories. Tonight's story is The Boy Who Listened to Songs. One morning, light fell soft on a little house in Granada. Young Federico stretched in his bed, listening downstairs. His mother was preparing breakfast in the kitchen. She hummed a little tune while she worked. Federico's father owned orchards and farms all around. The air smelled like fresh bread and fruit trees, but what Federico loved most was the music. Even the sounds of the street had rhythm. Cartwheels, vendors calling, bird songs. "Mama," he called down softly, "where do songs come from?" His mother smiled up at him from the kitchen. "Some are very, very old, mijo. Older than Granada itself." Federico wondered about those ancient songs. He wanted to find them and listen to every one. That afternoon, an older man knocked on the door. He carried a leather bag and wore round glasses. This was Senor Martin, Federico's piano teacher. Unlike other teachers, Martin didn't just teach notes and scales. "Federico," he said, settling onto the piano bench, "shall we play?" They played for a while, but then Martin stopped. "Do you know what this song is called?" he asked softly. "No, senor," Federico answered, shaking his head. "It is called the Olive Picker's Lament because it tells a true story," Martin said. "A long time ago, a man worked in the groves near Granada. His heart was sad and he sang this song while picking olives." Federico's eyes grew wide. The song came from a real person's heart? Yes, Martin nodded. Every great song does. From that day on, Federico understood songs were trapped memories of real people's lives. One Saturday morning, Martin arrived with a small leather notebook. "Today," he said, "we don't play the piano. Where are we going?" Federico asked excitedly. "To listen?" Martin replied with a smile. They walked down the narrow, twisting streets of Albaicín. This was the old quarter where gypsy families had lived for hundreds of years. The streets were so tight that sunlight barely reached the ground. Walls pressed in from both sides, painted cream and white and faded terracotta. The air was warm and smelled like spices, cooking fires in earth. As they walked deeper, sounds filled the narrow passages. A woman hung laundry from a high window, singing wordlessly. "Listen," Martin whispered to Federico. An old man sat on a doorstep, tapping a rhythm on his knee. A child called out to a friend, but even their laughter had a musical lilt. Federico realized the entire quarter was singing. They came to a small plaza with a fountain in the center. An elderly woman sat beside it, her hands folded in her lap. She was singing, but it wasn't a cheerful tune. Her voice was high and thin, like a thread of golden light. It rose and fell, telling of old loves and lost homes. Martin sat down quietly, gesturing for Federico to do the same. Federico felt his chest grow tight as he listened. The melody wasn't the prettiest he'd ever heard, but it was true. Every note was real. When the woman finished, she opened her eyes and smiled at them. "Ah, a young student," she said kindly. "Would you like to know this song, Nino?" Federico nodded, unable to speak. She sang it again, slowly this time, and Martin wrote the words in his notebook. Federico watched every movement of the woman's lips. He was memorizing not just the melody, but the feeling behind it. From that day on, Martin and Federico had a secret tradition. Every week, they would walk into Albaicín. They would sit in doorways and plazas, listening and watching. Martin's notebook grew thick with songs. Some were flamenco, with clapping and stamping rhythms. Others were slow and sorrowful, like the woman by the fountain. Federico began to understand something beautiful. Each song held a whole person's life inside it. A love song meant someone had felt a particular kind of joy. A work song meant someone's hands had been busy, but their heart was singing. The songs were like bridges between past and present. As Federico grew older, he continued collecting. He began writing things down himself at first, just the melodies and words. Then he started writing about what he imagined. The people who sang them, the reasons why they sang. Years passed, and Federico carried his notebooks everywhere. He learned that collecting songs was not just about music. It was about holding people's real feelings in your hands. It was about preserving the truth of how they lived. Those songs from the Gypsy Quarter, from Martin's lessons, from the fountain, they stayed with him when he left Granada to study. He turned them into poetry, sharing them with the world. He wrote about deep songs, songs with history in every note. People everywhere came to read his poems. They felt the same magic he had felt as a boy. Listening to an old woman sing by a fountain, walking through narrow streets that seemed to echo with time itself. Years later, his childhood home became a museum. Today, people visit the house where young Federico lived. They stand in the room where he first heard music. They touch the walls that heard him practice piano. And so Granada also slowly fell asleep. Good night.